Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. You are not the only one who believes life-changing wealth can be had from holding XRP. Look, there are millions, quite literally millions of people the world over who agree with you, and I'm with you. I've been holding XRP for over 7.5 years at this point. I've never sold a single XRP yet, though I certainly intend to at higher prices. But look, this large group of people that believes in XRP, it includes some of the most intelligent and wealthy individuals on the entire planet. It includes multiple publicly traded companies now holding XRP as a treasury reserve asset. How's that for some confidence in the long-term viability of XRP? Publicly traded companies, you don't hold an asset if you think it's a flash in the pan type of thing. It also includes countless institutions the world over and an untold number of businesses who have implemented the actual use of XRP in their business models. And now, most reputable chart analysts, and pretty much all of them who track XRP, they're warning that XRP is about to burst yet again, going parabolic and entering price discovery for the first time in over 7 years. That's what comes next. It's great we saw a burst to the upside, hitting a new all-time high. We haven't entered true price discovery yet. That's the next phase. That's what I'm waiting for. I know that's what you guys are waiting for too. It's at hand. It's coming. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, as I record this video, it is 8:08 p.m. Central Time, Saturday, June 28th, 2025. XRP is $2.18. Bitcoin is at $107,524. And let's just jump right into all the XRP stuff. Look at this. I got a ton of XRP stuff for you in this video. So here's a post from Crypto Wizard. He posted this in the afternoon, 2:04 p.m. Central. So, about 6 hours ago, as the time I'm recording this. XRP price chart here. He says, "Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Honey, is it happening? XRP is attempting a breakout of the falling wedge. A successful breakout will see it rocket to $2.80. Once $2.80 breaks, a new all-time high comes." Now, my friends, I have seen so many chart analysts say similar things. I've been highlighting it on my channel every time I see reputable analysts saying things along these lines. There's no shortage of them. And the reason that this matters in my mind is because once you have a group of talented analysts who have a really good track record and they're reputable, when they start saying the same thing or roughly the same thing in practically in unison, they're almost always right about what's going to happen. And they're all agreeing the next thing is number go up. Now, it doesn't mean we know for sure when this is going to happen, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, a month from now, whatever it ends up being, even if it's longer than that. But, and by the way, that just to be clear, that makes sense because there's no analyst on the planet who can consistently predict time. But the takeaway is the part that matters, there really isn't any dispute. And I'm telling you, having been here in the space for over 7.5 years, you don't normally see like basically every reputable analyst under the sun roughly agreeing on like what's about to happen. You don't normally see that. That's why when it jumps out, when they say stuff like this, it really jumps out at me. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. He says, XRP, I haven't shared an analysis on XRP USD in over a month for good reason. Now is the time I am starting to pay attention. We have reached a very important breakout zone between $2.20 and $2.30. And I'll pause and note, this is from this afternoon, 12:38 p.m., so not long ago. It says the zone is an apex of the 1 month and 3 month VWAP, anchored VWAPs from every swing point over the last 4 months, along with the 160-day downtrend spanning back to all-time high. All this confluence tells us one thing. This is a big area for bulls to regain that very well could be looked back at as the turning point of a new bullish trend. Now look, he is very careful with the way that he words things. And if he's saying, guys, this actually really might be the moment, yeah, I'm going to listen. He has a great track record in covering XRP and crypto in general. Here's a post from chart analyst E-Grade Crypto. It's an XRP BTC chart, and he simply says, "You are not bullish enough. Inverted hammer candles." And so he's highlighting the schematic right here. I'm removing my mouse pointer, and effectively arguing That's what he thinks is playing out here. Number go up, my friend. So look, XRP has already decimated Bitcoin this market cycle. It is not done. XRP will continue to make Bitcoin its tiny little baby back bitch, because that's exactly what it is in relation to XRP. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK. He simply said, it's coming here. And he cited this level here. I don't know if this is intentional the way it's bolded here, but he cited a price level of $12.69. If that's intentional, that wouldn't surprise me, because he's been calling for double-digit price action for XRP this cycle. And in fact, he thinks that we're going to peak between $20 to $30 this cycle. We'll see what happens. I don't pretend to know. I don't make price predictions. I'm willing to, the farthest I'm willing to go is say, based on historic precedent, here are my suspicions about what could happen. I'm willing to say what I think could happen while acknowledging I straight up don't know. Well, I'm not a chart guy, so why would I just, if I were making crap up, like, here's my specific price prediction, it'd just be disingenuous crap. But based on historic precedent, I can get a feel for what might be possible. And given the fundamental strength from XRP, it's just ridiculous to think that XRP wouldn't be the top performer or one of the top performers out of the top 100. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, he thinks that it's about to happen. In fact, in a separate post here, he shared XRP hourly liquidity, and he shared this zone right above. Looks like that liquidity, especially look at the red part, getting upwards of $2.40. So maybe something really is going to happen sooner than later. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph Crypto, XRP bull flag. So another analyst here saying, guys, bull flag, gonna break. Chart analyst Peppa, basically the same thing here. XRP 44-day bull flag coming to an end. You see the recurring theme here, folks? You see that? And then take a look at this. I'd love seeing this. You know, in my very last video, I highlighted a couple articles. One was from CoinDesk and one was from Cointelegraph, and they're talking about how XRP is about to rip to the upside. Here's another one. I kid you not. And look, and I on the whole, I really can't take grievance with the analysis. This is from a chart analyst with Cointelegraph named Benjamin Tamuli. Yeah, that's probably how you say that. Anyway, it's titled XRP price saw month-long 420% rally the last time this metric turned green. Now, mind you, Cointelegraph has spent most of the last decade crapping all over XRP, irrational hatred, XRP derangement syndrome, outright lies and bogus information about XRP, mixed in with some actual reporting. And so it's just so fascinating. You're just seeing endless articles from Cointelegraph and other outlets that have just spent years hating on XRP, and I guess they just don't want egg on their face, and they're finally admitting, yeah, this thing's gonna go. Finally. They couldn't see it when XRP was priced so low against Bitcoin. They couldn't see it then, even though that we had enough historic information to indicate, guys, when it's at this historic low, that's actually the time right before it moves, and then it did in November. But they couldn't acknowledge that. Of course, could they? No. But now they will. Well, at least maybe now they're sort of getting it. I still think a lot of people over here hate XRP. But anyway, reads as follows. After peaking at an all-time high of $3.40 in January, XRP has shown modest returns on investment over the past several months, despite consistently closing every monthly candle above the $2 mark since December 2024. XRP's second quarter trading volumes on Binance have fallen to their lowest levels since August 2020, reflecting a decline in market participation. Now, folks, I will pause to note here because there isn't sufficient context provided. That's normal after a major burst. That's not weird or bad. That doesn't mean that there is something wrong with XRP. And they're not even making that case, but you might think that if you don't know better. Like a reduction in volume is something that happens. It precedes mega moves. I mean, and the reduction in volume, I'm not saying that in and of itself means you're going to see a burst, but that is a thing that happens prior to big bursts happening. That's very normal. And you've seen that over the last several months, the price range for XRP, it's been consolidating. That's all I'm saying. Check this out, I love this. Recent data from CryptoQuant suggests that whale addresses could be positioning themselves for an imminent breakout. Even Cointelegraph is saying, hey, actually, XRP could just break out any moment. Even Cointelegraph is. You'll love to see it. Anyway, they write, notably, XRP's 90-day moving average whale flows shifted to positive territory at the beginning of May, a reversal from the sharply negative flows observed between January and April, which marked a prolonged correction phase. This renewed influx of whale capital hints at strengthening market sentiment. And additionally, a detailed examination of the chart indicates that the bullish trend in whale flows began in early August 24, 2024, eventually correlating with a 420% breakout for XRP in Q4. Yeah, well, if you're talking about from when it actually broke out, XRP broke out to its peak at over 500%. So it depends on the way you're measuring it. But anyway, the magnitude of these flows currently surpassing last year's levels may drive XRP to new highs as early as Q4 2025. Okay, so you can dispute the timeline. There are multiple analysts that have said when they think it's most probable to occur. The truth is nobody knows. You know, I tend to throw most of that stuff out. If I don't mind, like if you're saying, hey, based on historic precedent, if history rhymes with itself, this is what it would look like, that's fine. But the truth is, if you're just looking at the charts, like nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. They also highlight this. Wallet data highlights investor confidence. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this other than to mention it purely because this is something I've been screaming about recently. Look at this, though. Supporting the bullish on-chain development, futures trader Dom noted significant activity in large XRP wallets. Specifically, wallets holding over 1 million XRP reached an all-time high of 2,850, while those with holdings exceeding 10,000 XRP increased by 6.2% year-to-date to 306,000. Look, and I already covered that in the video, so I'll just be brief there, but I thought I'd throw it in. Even Cointelegraph is recognizing the significance of this. You love to see it. Folks, it's just going to get even more ridiculous. Take a look at this post from chart analyst TechDev, one of the best analysts out there, currently with 532,000 followers on X. He simply wrote, clear as day, about to get started. Look at this. So he's highlighting that the business cycle, it's already bottomed for this market cycle. It's already moving up. And what happens after that? Well, historically, look at the last couple cycles. Bitcoin takes off, and you know that altcoins follow. So again, he said, clear as day, about to get started. Then he had this from the blockchain backer. Happy Saturday. Just over here minding my business, being bullish. I love that so much. So when the blockchain backer is posting stuff like that, which he doesn't normally do, that means he's very serious. He really does believe, as do many analysts, that this thing's about to blow. And you'll love to see it coming from the blockchain backer. What a time to be an XRP holder. We are right, and life-changing wealth is next. That is my conviction. And if I'm wrong, which I could be, then it goes to zero and I lose everything perhaps. But I don't think that's the most probable outcome, right? I sure as hell do not. This thing, I firmly believe we're going to finally enter price discovery and melt faces. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.